Welcome to Childcare Conversations, the podcast where early childhood leaders like you get real-world strategies, honest talk, and a whole lot of support. Whether you're running one center or many, we're here to help you lead with confidence and clarity. This episode is brought to you by our summer partner, Childcare Business Growth, your go-to solution for filling spots, increasing revenue, and scaling your childcare business without the burnout. We're proud to partner with a team that's as committed to your success as we are. Learn more at childcarebusinessgrowth.com. Now, let's get into today's conversation, one we think you're really going to love.
Well, welcome to today's episode of Childcare Conversations with Kate and Carrie, and we are excited to have Jeanette Ward with Texas Mutual and Christy Black with Primrose
Schools.
Central Texas.
Just say schools.
Schools, there we go, Primrose Schools. And we're going to talk about their unique business partnership, how it came to be, and
if we get a little overly familiar with Christy, I will go ahead and do the disclaimer. We've known her for more than a decade and have trained, 15, 20 directors and admin staff for her. That might not be enough because we train her office managers, her directors, all those people.
All the real important ones.
all the people. So let's start with just a real simple conversation. Whose idea was it and why?
Well, I'll start.
Yes.
So, Texas Mutual, we've been around for 30 years, and we owned a building about a mile from here at 290 35, and it was an older building. It was starting to kind of cause some issues, and so we decided we wanted to build a brand new building. The Miller development had just kind of started to take off, and so we decided, hey, it's only a mile. That way, it won't interrupt any of our employees' commutes. So it gave us a chance kind of to start fresh. And so one of the things that had been happening was we had lost a couple of our key employees because there are not a lot of insurance companies in Austin, but there was one that had an on-site childcare center. And adjusters are precious gold to an insurance company in a town where there's not a lot of them. So from a competitive perspective, we're like, we should have it, and we didn't offer it as some like an on-site childcare center that we're running. We wanted to lease it to a childcare provider at less than market rates to make it enticing to bring a childcare center
Okay,
in.
so let's start. Wait. Okay, so you leased it to them. Going in, you knew it was going to be less than market rate.
Yes.
Everybody hear that?
To entice
Yes.
good quality childcare center to come be here. Yeah.
I think that's something that even programs that like churches or other faith-based organizations can think about. If they're like, I don't want to run my own childcare center, but if they lease the space during the week to an operating childcare program at less than market rates, because they're not using it 24/7.
That's right.
They're using it for 10 to 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. So they're, 60 hours a week.
Yep.
Having that at less than market rate is a good way to service your community, whether it's your employees or your church community, your neighborhood community, in a way that's sustainable for both parties.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I have a
Because you
question.
weren't getting any rent before.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
So I have a question. Is because I don't know the answer on a company your size. Is that also something that you can then take as a tax break? The fact that you don't have it's worth this, but we only charge this, or does that not work in?
No.
Not
Unless
unless only so it would work
Just
if
goodwill.
you were renting to a nonprofit childcare
Yeah.
center.
Right.
All right.
Then that could be a gift in kind.
Yeah, but not in this case.
Okay. All right. I just thought I'd
There
check
are
on
current day. There's some incentives
There
for
is.
business owners now, but they weren't in place at that time.
it. Okay. All right. Okay.
And we might work towards that.
Yeah.
Oh,
good. Yes. All right. I
Christy
like
has
it.
plans.
Yeah,
I see,
because
I
we
see,
would
I
pass
see.
it on
That's
to you.
right.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
All right. So you knew going into building this building that you wanted a childcare center. How did you find Christy, or did Christy find you, or?
So, and at the time I wasn't CEO, I was the chief operating officer. So this was a joint decision sort of between the executive leadership team. The funny thing that it was our previous CEO, Rich Gergasco, myself, and maybe one other person on the EC team were strongly in favor, but he wore the biggest hat, so we won. It was interesting, some of the grumblings we heard, it's going to be loud or there's going to be traffic and all of that. We designed the building in a way that it's worked out really well, but it was just odd that there were people against it.
Always.
Yeah, I know, it's not interesting. But
Not everyone's into kids.
But so I wasn't directly involved, but we did an RFP. So we reached out. Quality was, I think, at top of our list, and that's you answered the RFP. I don't know. What do you think we were looking for?
How did you find an RFP? Because again, that's not something that generally makes. Hi, we're looking at doing an RFP.
So
for
that's where we are blessed with our silent partner. He's in commercial real estate.
Okay.
So he has access to all of those things. And he actually knew Rich and Mike.
Yeah.
And so it was an easy call.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I think they probably knew that he was dabbling in this world, and that's how it happened.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there was an RFP. You filled out the RFP.
Mm-hmm. I mean, essentially, we got it.
Yeah.
We landed it.
What were your tips, though, for even if somebody was wanting to do this? Because I know that this is a little non-traditional. I don't know if it's traditional to have an RFP or if it's just, hey, we have space, we're going to lease it. So it's more like commercial space.
It was probably more like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was probably more about who we knew.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had a network? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes,
so there was a network.
Very
in
well
place?
connected network. Yes.
Okay, so people who are listening to this episode might perhaps think
Find
that having a network,
fancy people,
have fancy people in your network,
become friends.
commercial realtors might be a good thing.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
And maybe being part of the chamber.
Well,
which is,
yes, all the.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've known her for years as well. I've known y'all for years, but I've also known her for years because we've been to Women in Business together.
Yeah.
I've seen her. I'm like, I'm a fan. Like, you've been on the stage, So this has also been a very smooth relationship for us because we've known each other for a long time.
Well, part of the reason I'm asking those questions is that we still run into people. Like we've done 100 presentations this year already. And I would say probably over 50% every time we run into people who aren't part of their chamber, who aren't part of their community.
It's so easy.
Activities, and they don't even have a professional advisory team. So they don't have a commercial realtor. They don't have a banker. They don't have a lawyer. And
they're all right there.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
it's not that hard.
I want to say
It's not
speaking to
that
my
hard.
mic, but you have your own mic on.
Yeah.
Please reiterate to
No,
that.
it's
So that's-
really not that hard. I mean, in Lake Travis, which is where I live, they jokingly refer to me as the mayor. No offense to the mayors out in Lake Travis, but because everywhere we go, they're like Christy Black, and it's not because I wanted it that way. It's because I just started showing up at all of the stuff through the chamber when I very first opened the Bee Cave school or transferred ownership of Bee Cave, and that's how I started to get me. And now we do it everywhere. We haven't done Austin Chamber so much; it feels really big.
Yeah.
But
there's regional chambers, so even
Right.
in Austin,
So,
there
like-
are some sub chambers.
yeah, like we tried to do the Austin Young Chamber for a minute. I did not attend because there's an age gap, but we sent representatives and all that, and kind of grew a little bit of legs. But we're still trying to find our niche over here in the downtown area.
Yeah,
we're really involved with like the Aldrich Street group that's out here in Mueller. So wherever we can, we sign up. That's the point.
find a club, join the club.
That's right. It's
Find
just
a
like
club,
going to
join the club.
college.
Yeah.
Go put your name on all the sheets.
Oh, we are so.
We had that conversation.
We had that conversation.
I
with
know.
our
I'm
kids.
ad nauseum with mine too.
Yeah.
So
All right. So you knew some people.
Yep.
You had a space.
Yep.
I'm sure it wasn't as easy as
I mean,
as
a
that.
lot of
so
work. but-
talk about. So what was the lot of work? What went into? They had a space. They wanted a childcare center. You said, "Hey, we're here."
Right. Well, on our side, we have to make sure that Primrose approves of the space. Luckily for us, the timing worked out beautifully because the corporate office had started dipping their toe into something they call Primrose on premise, which is essentially what we are.
Oh, yeah.
They've never categorized our school as that, but it is what we are. Basically
You were
saying
the
that.
OG.
Well, yeah, but basically, saying that one business could have direct access
Mhm.
to one school.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was a really easy sell for that part. But we still have to go through the whole process. So we have to go, fill out all of the paperwork. And this was going to be our 4th location at the time.
Mhm.
And so even though it's your 4th, you still have to start from the very beginning, like you're a nobody. And
They
So-
got to do the market
Interesting.
research. They got to
Yes.
validate.
yes, we have to
Because there
talk
could
about
be
all the
nobody
competitors.
living in this
and-
neighborhood.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. But the demographics were there. We, I don't know how far you want to go, but we started it and
Keep
then.
going. We'll stop you.
Okay. We opened on September 11th of 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and we had 8 classrooms at the time, and we opened with 40 infants.
That's a lot of very short people.
It was crazy. So immediately we knew that our demand was going to be on the younger side of our
Mhm.
building. Obviously, the Primrose model is 0 to 5, and so you have infants all the way through pre-K. But we were like, okay, these 40 children, let's hold on to them for 5 years,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
will eventually be 2 pre-K classes here,
Mhm.
which has happened, which is awesome. But when we first opened, I immediately started thinking we need a bigger boat because
You're like, I don't. You probably didn't start necessarily with 4 infant rooms because
no,
math-wise, you
but
need at
we
least
did.
5.
I mean, what I kept telling our enrollment coordinators and our team at the time, I was just like, just take them. If that's who's knocking, take them. We will convert rooms and we will figure it out. And so we opened on day 1 with 80 children, and half of them were infants.
Okay, so
That's why it was so
Crazy.
quiet for so long.
Yes.
or a different type of quiet.
Yeah,
Yes.
So you obviously did pre-marketing. You
Mhm.
knew your community knew you were coming. You did pre-enrollments
Mhm.
because there's a lot of programs that we talk to that we tell them to do this to that they don't, right? Like they're going, no, I got to wait till I have my certificate of occupancy. And I'm like, no, that's too late.
Mhm.
Like people
Whoa.
start having babies. And so,
Yeah.
Anywhere from 6 weeks to 6 months, they're going to be looking for childcare.
Mhm.
And if they know you're coming,
Mhm.
that's exactly what you want.
No, 100%. Like what we're kind of taught, like from Primrose Corporate, is building a school, opening a school is just like having a baby. It takes about 9-10 months. And so that's how we treat it. So from the second that construction starts, we hit the pavement and we start digital marketing, grassroots, all of that. And so like by the time we were holding parent orientations, they graciously let us use space downstairs. And I mean, the strollers were lined up. I was like, look at all the strollers, So definitely knew early on that we were going to be a young building and a young parent base.
I mean, and now you're at 20 rooms and 10 of them are infant and young toddler.
6.
No, if I count,
Oh,
I was
and
counting.
toddler.
And
Sorry.
young toddler.
Yes.
Oh.
Infant and
So
young
get out of the way.
toddler.
Technically 12.
Yes. I counted. I walked the building.
You're right. Yes.
I was like, half of the building is under 18 months.
Yeah.
Still.
And you
Yes.
think about this neighborhood. I
Yep.
mean, it's grow. They're putting in more apartments. I
Right.
think the houses have kind of slowed down, but they're
Right.
just
But I
People
heard a
moving in
rumor
here
about
all
an
the time.
elementary school
I
coming,
think that's supposed to be
and
on the
so-
market. Yeah.
that will help even that back end of the building grow a little bit more too, because they'll know that they have a direct place to go.
Yeah.
Not that they don't already, but
So you had said something about opening or wanting to have the childcare here, and then once you did that, you started learning about other challenges that
Yeah.
were in the early childhood area.
Yeah, so the first impetus for doing it was strictly like, hey, we've lost some people. Since we're taking this new approach, why don't we have a childcare center? But I didn't think about it other than that. I attended, I think a Leadership Austin event downtown, and I learned that Austin was a childcare desert and how many kids were on the waiting list for subsidized care and just the lack of available, affordable, quality childcare. And it was shocking to me because when I moved to Austin 30 5 years ago as a young single mother, I didn't have any problem finding childcare. And I was able to put myself through school and put my daughter in childcare and get a job here. And I just started thinking, oh my God, if people don't have access to childcare, they can't do what I did. They can't have this incredible, opportunity. So I came back that day and I went to Rich, our previous CEO, and I said, I wish we had known that. We might have done something different. Not that we wouldn't want you, but we would have maybe had a different calculus, especially to help the kids that aren't able to even get in anywhere and get help with tuition. Their parents get help with tuition. So that just sort of I just kind of became evangelized about it. I joined an organization called Early Matters Greater Austin, which is a business coalition, an offshoot of United Way Success by Six, with business owners who are trying to focus on trying to solve this issue. And we've been working steadily for 5-6 years on trying to figure out how the business voice can help advocate for policy changes, maybe tax rate elections, whatever the things are.
So this is the
making it
advantage and
better.
disadvantage of Carrie and I being around childcare in Austin for over 25 years, is that we were part of some of early conversations that go back 25 years.
Yeah.
And were initiated by Dell and the Dell Foundation and Michael and his family when his kids were little.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's the problem. You forget, like when you think about who most
that's a huge problem.
who most business owners are and where they are in their career, they've forgotten about how hard that was.
Yeah.
Even if it was hard for me, I would have forgotten about it by that time.
And it's that whole, it is a season in your life where it matters a huge
It's
amount.
very transient.
But if you're not, as a CEO, as a corporate leader, if you're not working with your frontline staff who are still in that phase of your life, you're like, why do you keep missing work?
Yeah.
Why do you what's going on? Why can't you get here? And they're like, well, I had to drop my kid at the babysitter, and then the babysitter was sick, and all of the things that happen when you're relying on informal childcare. Because Kate and I both did in-home programs, and we love them, but they can only take 6 to 12 kids.
Right.
And if you, as the caregiver, get sick, or if your child gets sick, then the other kids can't come,
or spouse gets sick,
or
anybody.
I mean,
if there's somebody sick, then you can't do the thing. And so there is a place for the home-based programs, but if you're having a hard time keeping your workforce at work, and you have a lot of people in their 20s and 30s, talk to your employees who are in their 20s and 30s about what kind of childcare arrangements they're having or childcare struggles. And that's one of the things that the world did learn during COVID was that brief period of time when the governors of different states shut down all business except for hospitals and medical. They were like, if you're not a grocery store or a hospital, you're closing your doors. And that included childcare. And then the doctors and the nurses and the phlebotomists were like, we can't come to work.
Right.
We have kids.
Yeah.
So then we were in hazmat suits.
And then the governors were like, oh, okay, childcare is an essential.
Yep.
It's like the grocery store. And people were like, why is childcare like the grocery store? Because the people who work at the grocery store have to have childcare so that they can work at the grocery store.
No, it should be way higher up on the totem pole.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Spent my time on that.
I know.
But with the business coalitions, and so if you're listening to this episode and your community doesn't have a business coalition, or if you know it used to, and you're like going, I think we used to have one, go find somebody who has some of that history, because that is another thing, is when they are even nonprofit or city sponsored or city funded, again, depending on people's interests at a official level, depends on whether or not there's money for that. And so, we can sit here and go, well, they did that like 25 years ago. What do you, like, that's not really new, but it's a new person. It's a new charge. And chances are maybe one, I actually think in your case, there's probably 3 that were part of the original group. Because I know who's in your group and I know who were in the group way back. So I think there's at least 3 that I know of for sure that were in both groups, which is great. But not everybody gets that, because if you're in a major metro that has a lot of coming and going over 25 years, because I mean, we're not talking about like this is a 5-year thing. This is something that Austin's struggled with for over 25 years. And I just love the fact that new people are coming in and taking a stab at it. Now, are you involved in that group or a group of
I
similar?
follow from afar.
Follow from afar. Okay.
They know that I will speak. I will,
Mhm.
you know, they put together a really cool lunch and learn, basically, with all of any representatives that would join us.
Because in reality, you are a major employer. I mean,
Yes.
you are no longer a one shop.
No, I have
childcare
130
facility.
employees.
Yeah. So
I mean,
you
I don't
are
know that's small potatoes in Austin, but you have
130
so many more,
employees
Is
puts
not.
you in a whole different category as far as the IRS is concerned. So
But-
it puts you as a medium employee.
But we have enough to fully be confident in what we're talking about.
Well, and you feel it on both ends because you not only you have 130 employees, but you are actually, how many kids do you have? How many families are in your programs?
Oh my gosh, over almost 600.
Okay, so you have 600 families, which translates to probably about 1,000 working individuals in Austin, plus your staff. So you have access every day to 1,100 members of the Central Texas workforce.
Yes. That's amazing.
That's impactful. I mean, and if you did the math and just said they all roughly made, and I'm sure they don't all make $50,000, they probably make more, but that makes them math easy, right? You then have a whole lot of zeros that you actually impact as far as workforce development in Austin. And you are 5 locations, 4 locations, 3 locations. How many do we have open?
We have 3 open. We're about to launch our 4th again.
So, but
it would be 5, but
if somebody was
rest in peace,
listening,
Lakeway.
but if somebody's listening, you have 3 locations and you have $5 million annually into the community because of your employees and your families. So no, you are not just a small business. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
I'm going to get on my soapbox.
That makes
I'm sorry.
my
There we
heart
go.
beat a little faster.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Off my soapbox. Okay. Go ahead, Carrie.
Well, one thing that I think that y'all really need to hear is the phone call.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
Story.
tell us the phone call.
So I had been, I was stalking them.
The pandemic.
For more
the
space.
pandemic changed things,
It
right?
did.
Right.
It did.
It was
I
crazy.
feel like it put everything into perspective. And so I saw the apartments expanding right across the street, you know, because our front door is on Garcia. And so I'm like, well, what's going there? Well, what's going in there? You know, and I was hitting the pavement all over Mueller, like, I just need 5,000 more square feet. And we could have a infant. I had all these ideas. Infant center could be across the street and the rest of the building could be here and all this stuff. And then, I don't remember, it might have even been Rob, but he was like, well, have you asked TMI? And I hadn't thought to just knock on their door because, you know, landlords never want to like disturb the nest. But I did. And so I reached out, asked for 5,000 square feet. And you know what? Let me think about that. You have a point. I said, I happen to notice that the floor that, you know, we can see, there's just not as much happening, you know, since the pandemic. And so it was Rich called me back and the CEO at the time. And he said, I have a counter offer. And I said, okay. And he said, if I match your square footage, so not just 5, we'll double that and give it to you like rent free.
The extra 5.
The extra 5. Will you open your doors to underprivileged children? I started crying on the phone because I'm a crier. And I said, I don't even know if I can say yes, but yes. Because game on.
Yeah.
Like, even if I got a slap on the wrist from Primrose or whatever, I was like, this is crucial. This is important. And at that time in our world, it was like, we have to help these children.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I do a real quick frame of reference? And feel free to correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
So as a business model, Primrose doesn't traditionally
Correct.
market to the
CCS.
quality subsidy-based programs. So I'm
Correct.
just trying to.
Correct.
So if anybody's listening and they're going, well, why would that matter?
I know. Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of
Yeah.
put
And
that
that-
little frame there that's not your general business market.
Correct. And I will say, and the only reason being is because we pride ourselves in being premium, therefore we have to have premium pricing.
Mhm.
And typically those families cannot afford our care.
Right.
And I hate saying that, but I will also say that the pandemic change things to where more often than not, the Primrose schools have gone for TRS status. And if they can take those children or if they can help their teachers' children, they are.
Yeah.
So all things good have happened.
Well, and you are in a community that is very diverse as far as the
this
location.
is our most diverse so far.
Yeah.
As far as socioeconomic
Yes.
locations.
All walks of
Because a
life.
lot of your other locations would not traditionally even have that population, and it's
Yes.
At least in as higher percentages.
Yes.
definitely not walking distance or,
Right.
short drive
Right.
distance. Okay. All right. I just wanted to
Okay.
make sure that I was accurate so that anybody who was listening was going, why is that?
Yes.
So
no, that's fair.
that was probably part of the emotion.
Oh
Because
my
there
gosh, it was really cool.
Yeah.
So
So the other end of the phone call, you remember I came back from that one event. I told
Right.
Rich, I wish we would have done something. That was both in our head. Like we were trying to figure out, well, maybe we could at the time figure out our own, like how do we work with other employers and provide subsidized tuition. Then we realized that we were running an insurance company. We can't run a subsidized tuition
Yes.
coalition. That's not sustainable. So this is something we've been talking about. So when she called, that's when we were like, okay, what can we do? What can we do? And quite honestly, it seemed so brilliant. Like, yes, we can do this. The reality,
Oh yes.
the reality of
This
making
is
it
part
happen.
2.
But it was also easy for us because again, post pandemic, so many things changed. So we went from an in office environment to flex hybrid. And so we have our employees, they come in the office when it makes sense. They work from home. So we were able to consolidate. So we had our Austin regional office on the first floor. We moved them up here. We were able to consolidate. So that was easy. That was the easiest
I
part.
actually just assumed it was probably you had more than one restaurant and only one restaurant
No.
survived that. Because the one that's
No.
in the building is one that did survive most of
Yeah.
its locations.
All
during
of
the
them.
pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they've
All of our
made it.
tenants
I
survived.
only know the one that's on the corner.
I
I'm
know.
sure you have. I'm sure
Yeah.
you have other restaurants
We
in your
do,
building,
yeah.
but I'm like,
Yes.
that one survived.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that was
Yeah.
actually our office space.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
it was very easy to move it, and it was funny when I toured the space later. It's like, oh, this is our old break room. And
Yeah.
it's like there's a few things that still look the same.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
We
part
kept
was
it.
easy. We had to kind of do some construction to block off access points and a lot of
Security.
security and technology, but that was the easy part.
Mhm.
Doing the contract was interesting just
Oh,
because
gosh.
they're
Lawyers.
yeah, with that 5,000 free square feet and the trade-off is you have to do this. So we had to put in some restrictions on that, but we also had gotten a hint that it would be difficult, that it's like there's some bureaucracy to it. There's
Mhm.
going to take a while, and then there's some issues with reliability. So we just knew there's going to be a lot. So we gave plenty of space to make
Been
that
very
happen.
gracious, and thank goodness.
Yeah,
because
It's been hard.
I mean, we were so we're officially a year away from when we were supposed to have like our first set of 20 children in the building. We just received our TRS status
Oh my God.
last week.
Congratulations. Oh my God.
But y'all, we started working on it 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And
So
that's with some, I mean, it's going to sound terrible, but that's with some veteran people
Well, not only that,
in the mix.
even once you have that, Texas, like
hang
other
on.
states, don't necessarily have the money to put the kids in. So just because you have your TRS status
The waiting
doesn't
list
necessarily
is not
mean that
moving.
you've got
Okay.
kids in the
No,
community.
But again,
that's a
we
whole
have
nother.
people listening from other places,
Oh,
Yes.
other countries, other
Yes.
states. So TRS is
Oh.
That's a
the
Texas
rating
Rising
system
Star.
for high quality care that is a voluntary system in the state of Texas. And if you provide care to where the government pays for part of the tuition, you do need to go through the STAR program, which we call TRS in Texas.
Mhm.
Texas Rising Star.
Texas Rising Star, yes. So it's like quality assurance programs in other states, but in Canada or in Seoul, you guys have different government validation standards that say this is a higher than required level of care at this center.
Mhm.
So they've gone, they'd had their corporate accreditation, and that got them to one level of care,
Mhm.
but those don't exactly parallel what the state says is high quality care. And so
That is actually something we have lobbied for. So we have, I don't know if y'all know this, but we have our own Primrose Day during legislation. And we go and we lobby. And that's one of the things we've lobbied for now that so many of us have achieved TRS status. We're like, we have to go through all of the same, basically the same, if not more, to receive our accreditation, our national accreditation. Why can't that automatically transfer over?
And there's a lot of states that I know the Primroses are well, not just Primrose, because there are other franchises, other privately run programs that have their own internal accreditation program, and so they're all kind of fighting that that animal. I mean, Oklahoma, and
and that's what's cool about our advocacy day is that it's not just Primrose. There's a group of us that go as Primrose, but we're also with Children's Lighthouse. We're with Learning Experience. Like, we're with all the franchises that are trying to achieve the same thing. So.
And the convening she spoke of earlier, we through Early Matters, and there's a statewide coalition too of Early Matters and Employers for Child ECEC, Employers for Childcare. Can't remember the last one. Anyway, so we got the chief of staff from the lieutenant governor's office and key staffers to sit in the room and listen to her talk about. I go to this entity first, and then and then I go to this entity. But if the time runs out, I have to start over here. Just how difficult it was. So I'm like, okay, here I was thinking we were doing this great thing for the kids, but maybe the great thing we're going to do is get the state to fix the system.
No, I mean, it's true.
But it's not just the state, because you also have, your city of Austin, and Carrie ran 4 programs in the city of Austin.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah.
You've got the county municipality, you've got the city municipality, so you have the health, the fire, the building code, the electric, the plumbing,
and you're in a TIF. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on.
So that's where we are.
If I remember right, you also were part of, with COVID funds, Texas had a business partnership grant opportunity. And I know that there were very few of those across the state that were awarded, but you guys were one of them, weren't you? Or
are you talking about the child relief grants?
Yes, but wasn't there one that was specifically for putting together a business childcare center? Oh
no, maybe, but I don't think we. I don't know. I don't know
about
that.
All right.
But I will say that the child relief grants were wonderful, and we were very grateful for those.
Yeah. So some states. And I thought Texas had one, and for some reason I thought y'all were one of them. Some states did have where if you were a child care center and you were able to partner with a corporation to expand, or even maintain your size during COVID.
Missed the cutoff.
Okay. All
right. Now it's coming back.
Okay.
So the expansion's been open for 1 year, so this is all a little fuzzy. But yes, we were actively trying to get that grant, and we our window we had to be open by a certain time, and we missed it by like 2 months. So we did not qualify.
Okay.
So
red tape.
Yes, there's a lot of red tape.
I think that from an industry that's incredibly regulated. Insurance is pretty regulated. So I'm sure you probably thought I can deal with regulatory agencies, right? Because you are, that's all your industry is. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, we have nothing. We are nothing compared to.
There's a certain amount of efficiency in the insurance industry regulation. Actually, what I've learned on the childcare licensing and all the things, it's just because there's not one entity, so it's you're dealing with really siloed processes and people. That's the big problem. We have one Texas Department of Insurance.
That's true.
The other thing with that is that every state is different.
Yeah.
So every state, how they fund their
quality
improvement programs, that's different in every state. And so there's no, we have 50 states, we have territories, but nobody does it the same.
Yeah.
We have, so forth and so on. And, my father was insurance before he was anything else. And so I know that at least on a lot of levels, not that every state does their Department of Insurance the same, but you got big companies that come in and go, no, I'm not going to do it this different in 50 states. I might do it different 10 times. But y'all have to figure out, I'm only going to do it different 10 times. I'm not doing it different 50 times.
There is an entity that helps align all of the, they come up with model rules that people use across.
And it would be great if that happened in childcare but all we have is nonprofit, you know,
Yeah,
professional groups.
That's
Yeah.
true.
We
And
don't have another
volunteers
way.
that change positions and stuff like that. And so it's like herding cats.
Yeah.
And I mean, childcare programs that are part of franchises or large corporate entities,
Mm-hmm.
and the small ones that are mom and pop
Mom and
that might
pops.
own 1 to 10 locations but aren't part of a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
They don't always play together nicely in the
Mhm.
same sandbox, and
Of
so
course.
there's not a way necessarily for this advocacy group to partner with this advocacy group to come
Right.
together for a joint message, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so that is
Occasionally they will at the federal level, but they don't usually do it very much at the state levels.
Right.
I will
So-
say the last couple of years in Texas, I've seen a lot more coalescing around the
Good.
different groups.
Mhm.
So it feels like people are much more aligned here.
Mhm.
And then I don't want to take credit for this because it's actually not me, but Emily Knight from the Texas Restaurant Association
Yes.
started advocating at the Capitol, and people listened. So I think we all owe a great deal of
Mhm.
debt to her. And so, and now there's, like I said, way more statewide focus and efforts people are talking about. I've gone to Amarillo to talk about it
Mhm.
with business leaders there. I've gone to Odessa.
Mhm.
Emily's holding events, this Employers for Childcare Task Force, all over the state. So I do feel better, and it feels like there's more collaboration with the traditional advocacy that's happened,
Mhm.
the childcare providers and nonprofits, but also it just feels like there's more of a momentum happening.
well, what's really great, because once you start getting the restaurant industry in and
Other
health,
hospitality.
as I say,
Yeah.
hospitality and healthcare, which have ebbed and flowed. Sometimes you get healthcare all about childcare, and other times they kind
Yeah.
of
Mhm.
it disappears. But that should help childcare centers across every state start to understand that now we have to look at not just 9 to 5 or even 6 to 6.
Yes.
We have to look at
Yeah.
I know we'd love to. We would love because we've been approached,
Mhm.
you know, especially here. Like, could
There's
we
a lot of
do
restaurants.
nights and weekends? So where we butt up against is our liability insurance won't cover it.
Mhm.
Interesting.
I feel like you need to have a
I
conversation
know.
with some folks.
I
I'm
know.
just saying. I'm like, there's a
Jab,
reason-
jab.
that was actually when we first talked
But they
about
won't.
doing this. I was like going, so does Texas Mutual want to have some,
So it
some
would
say in the
be
insurance
like
industry?
it would literally
We're a
be like
specific type
I
of
know.
restaurant.
it would
But
literally
you know
be like
people, I feel like
I
you
do.
know
at
we know
our
people.
own risk.
Yeah.
And then the second hurdle would be staffing.
Yeah.
You know, overnight and weekend staffing. So
So the overnight and weekend staffing,
I mean,
you
we
could
could
make
figure
it
it out.
happen.
I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that.
I'm like, I know you.
But
You
I
figure
can't.
that out.
We can't. If we can't insure it,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
can't be open.
There was a tax rate election in Travis County, which is where
Mhm.
we are,
Mhm.
and they're collecting property tax dollars, small amount coming out of individual homeowners, but or individual property owners, but huge impact potentially. And that's, you know, the folks that sort of helped spearhead that was non-traditional care hours was a huge part. So it's supposed to help with that.
Okay.
I don't know exactly
good.
how that's going to look.
Yeah.
So I have a quick
and then
question.
shared services kind of things.
Yeah.
With the insurance, is it your insurance agent won't or it's cost prohibitive? Which part of that is?
I mean, initial asking was won't.
Hmm.
And
That's so odd.
we're
Interesting.
finding liability is a whole other subject.
Yep.
It could be a whole
Mhm.
podcast
Yeah.
on
Mhm.
that.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
had a couple of them.
We've
I mean,
had-
there's schools, there's Primrose schools in the Northeast that they just got dropped,
Mhm.
and they have
Yep.
no carriers, and we're like, what do you mean? Like we have to have insurance. So
Yeah.
anyway,
But what is interesting is that there are some childcare centers that do fall under they don't carry they carry like the general, like very
Mhm.
general insurance, because in Texas and in other states, as long as you tell the parents what you have,
Mhm.
maybe not so much what you don't have, but what you have, and you're what they consider full disclosure,
Mhm.
you can operate even if it is not what most of us would consider optimal or ideal.
Or good business
Or
practice.
good business
Right.
practice.
Interesting.
I know.
So, yes, but this is what, and
I'm
part
I
of this
am
is why.
curious about it.
And I also know that there are some programs that literally, this is a weird thing, but they literally have the parents come pick up the kid
Mm-hmm.
at say 6:30, and then bring the kid back at 6:45, and it is a separate license and it is a separate program.
So that they have to pick up and drop back
Yeah,
off.
so they have to have 15 minutes where they leave.
Wow.
And so then the
Fascinating.
centers
Or
have
somebody picks them up.
somebody
Right,
picks them up,
right.
And so the
A
centers have
teacher
two
walks out
different
with them and walks back in
yeah,
with them.
the centers have two different licenses, and so they're insured separately for the nights and weekends.
Wow.
Because
Loophole.
people are willing to figure out a way around, and
You could
that
have
was
a separate
one that I've
business-
heard.
You could have a separate business entity rent your program.
Have you met Primrose? Just saying.
Throwing out
I
a
would have to cover all
Wait,
the
wait, wait.
logos.
Oh goodness. That
Yeah.
would be
That's another.
cover
that's
my
another.
microphone. So
Red.
no.
But
Red
I mean,
flag.
I think
But
it is a huge issue
It is.
that because there were drop-in centers, and the drop-in centers were having higher rates of accidents and citations because drop-in centers don't know what kids are going to be there. They don't know how they
Right.
need to staff
Oh.
because you don't know ahead of time how many children are going to be there.
right.
They had more issues with licensing, which
Mhm.
meant that their insurance rates went up.
oh,
Yes.
okay.
And so I think that that's part of what's behind the insurance companies being less willing to write for nights and weekends.
Okay.
Because they think of it as, and so it might be if you said we have regular families, that it's not drop in and weekend, like it's regular family, regular care. It's for healthcare, it's for hospitality industry. Our kids would still have their 40 hours a week of care. It would be scheduled and structured. It's not drop in, maybe.
So yeah,
Might be worth it to go back and
go back and have another swat at it.
Yeah.
Next Primrose conference, I'll throw it out there.
I mean, I can go with you if you want. I'll talk
Okay.
to people. I'm
I
willing
mean,
to.
it doesn't hurt to ask.
yeah.
I'm
We
always
have
willing
nothing
to
else
go
going on. Why not?
brainstorm new ways to. I mean, Primrose already is, the most profitable franchise according to Franchisor Magazine in the industry.
Yes.
They can take that up even further because there's other people knocking on their door if they want to keep their rankings. They might need to
Good point.
look at other options. Okay, we have been here, kept you guys longer than we thought we would, because this has
And
been such an
we could
interesting
probably still have more
conversation.
conversation. I'm
Yes.
like going, I know she kept trying to show me her phone. I was like, I'm not looking. I'm not looking.
This has been a fantastic relationship
Yes.
and story and journey. We're quite proud of our school downstairs.
Would you tell another employer to do the same thing? And would you tell another Primrose, absolutely go do this?
100%.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we should have employers thinking about how they can support not just their own staff's childcare. That's going to be transient, but a whole community. And I know that the demand for this center is so great. And
It
then
is.
I work out in our little gym and I watch the parents come and pick up their kids every day. I hear the
Yep.
children. Yeah, I absolutely am a huge advocate for it.
And so, has the parking been a huge problem?
No.
Has the
Well,
noise
not for
been-
me.
has the
Maybe for
no-
y'all.
Has the noise been a problem?
So we do have some employees
Sometimes.
that sometimes the screaming when the kids are outside.
The happy screams.
The happy screams. I personally like them, but
I know. And sorry, I keep touching my mic. The parking, it's just crunchy in the morning. It's just drop
Yeah.
off and pick up.
Yep.
And
But-
everyone's in a hurry.
yeah, we have less. It's less like our employees go in a separate
Yeah.
area. So I think it's more the other tenants. Maybe
Yes.
there's some conflicts. But
I
for our
feel
employees,
mostly sorry
fine.
for like the garage attendant. Like if there's an angry mom, she can't get out of the garage.
Yeah.
That's like, ugh. We're like, we're sorry. But
Yeah. But
think-
for the most
yeah.
part, it hasn't. The things that our employees or the leadership was afraid of,
Yeah.
we haven't seen.
it
that.
hasn't kept anyone from joining us as a program.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank goodness.
Do
Okay.
you want to?
So I just want to say that these guests were recommended to us, and so if you've got people you think should be on the podcast, let us know. Send them our way, and we'll be happy to have a great conversation with them about childcare and the innovations that are happening in your program or in your community, and give you ideas. Kate and I are willing to come up with new weird ideas where you just take all the children out of the building for 10 minutes. And we hope to hear for you to listen to us, to be in the conversation again on our next episode. definitely subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for tuning in. We love bringing you real talk and fresh insight from the world of early childhood education. Be sure to follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all of the latest episodes. And if you're planning a conference, training, or special event, Kate and Carrie would love to speak to your audience. You can learn more about their keynote sessions and workshops at kateandcarrie.com. If you learned something today, share the show and leave us a review below. We'll see you next time on Childcare Conversations.